I'd really like to talk about acceptance and the liberation from suffering in this understanding. What do I mean by acceptance? Well, quite simply, it's an acceptance of that which I can't change. And even more than that, it's an acceptance that the things in life that I feel that I want to change, if they're within my influence or within my control, and I want to change them, that even in this moment, I can still practice acceptance that they are what they are right now. We spend so much of our life wishing something wasn't the way it was, or wishing that something that happened in the past hadn't happened the way it had happened. And we spend a lot of time stressing over this. Some of us even experience sleepless nights, anxiety, stress. It might even lead to more full-on emotional states like depression, wishing things weren't the way they are. So this practice of acceptance really liberates us from that mental emotional state that we can find ourselves stuck in. Now, there's a really fine point to make here, a nuance, and people ask me about this a lot. They say, Jem, if I accept everything the way it is, doesn't that mean that I become apathetic about the future, or complacent, or that I'm approving of things that shouldn't be the way they are? And no, it doesn't mean that. You can have acceptance of something the way it is, and that doesn't mean that you approve of it. So you can accept that it is what it is and find peace in that acceptance of reality, and then you might feel motivated to try and improve it or change it or influence it moving forwards. So acceptance of reality in the current moment doesn't mean that you don't want to improve the future moving forwards. And there's a really lovely book that I can recommend. It's quite a confrontational book in some areas, but she's a wonderful woman. Her name is Byron Katie. Everyone calls her Katie. Her first name's Byron. And her book is called Loving What Is. And she really speaks to this concept of accepting reality. And she says, you know, you can fight with reality if you want to, but reality will win. Only 100% of the time, she says. I like that. So acceptance of reality. And I've got a tool that I'd like to share with you that I find really helpful. I use it on a day-to-day basis. And it's a really simple acronym. Easy to remember. The acronym is CIA. And it's not the American Spy Organization. So what does it stand for? C stands for control. So there are some things in your life that you can control. If something's within your control and it's not the way you want it to be, you think it should be improved or amended or not there at all, if it's within your control, rock on, give it all of your energy. It gets 100% of your effort to improve it or make it something better. It gets 100% of your blood, sweat and tears, or your sleepless nights, or your energy. Then I stands for influence. So there are some things that are not in your control, but you do have some influence over them. So if you've got influence over something and you want to improve it, it gets some of your energy. It gets some of your blood, sweat and tears. And you might like it to even get quite specific about that and think, how much influence do I think I've got over this particular situation? I think I've got 20% influence, so it gets 20% of your sweat, 20% of your worry or your effort, yeah? And then A. So there's some things in your life that you can't control, you have no influence over, and they go straight into the accept basket. And in this accept basket, it gets 0 of your sweat. It gets none of your energy, none of your sleepless nights. It certainly doesn't get any anxiety or worry because it's something that you just accept. And there's a big chunk of your life that you can put straight into this accept basket, and that is everything that's already happened. Everything that's happened in the past goes straight into that accept basket. So if you ever hear yourself saying, yeah, but she shouldn't have spoken to me like that, but she did. Yeah, but she shouldn't have. Yeah, but she did. Or that thing shouldn't have happened the way it did, but it did happen like that. And if you notice yourself arguing with something that's already happened, you can just stop arguing with it. It should have been the way it was and put it straight in the accept basket. Now, this doesn't mean that everything that's happened was necessarily functional or nice or loving. You know, there are things that have happened that weren't great. And it doesn't mean that we can't learn from the past and try and improve moving into the future. So the way I did that then, I'm going to learn from that and try and do it better next time. But should I have done it that way? Yeah, I should have. Why? Because I did. Yeah? So the minute you stop arguing with reality, it alleviates a whole lot of suffering. That's acceptance, and I really hope you can take this as a practice into your day-to-day life and use the CIA model to help free up yourself from suffering and put your energy where it really counts.